Good morning, worshiping community. Welcome to this Voter Commitment Sunday. We gather fully aware of the inequity that continues to exist in this place as we worship. We gather on land that is not our own. That was the land that was and continues to be walked by the Kiawe, the Catawba, the Sakoni, a land in which enslaved people of African descent were abused and where we continue to strive for equity. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome with us in worship. We're going to start today by just pausing for a moment to center in our bodies. I invite you first to rub your hands together vigorously. Just begin to feel the warmth of the friction on your skin. Take some deep breaths. When you're ready, just place that on your temples. The crown of your head. And feel that warmth, that energy. I invite you to look over your left shoulder. Move that lower back and hips. Look up and around. Do the same, looking over your right shoulder, moving those hips and that lower back. Looking out gently, looking down. Let's take another deep breath. We are aware that we worship with our whole selves, our nervous system, our breath, our memory, our hope, our brain, our guts. I invite you to share a sign of peace. Peace. Be with each of you. In peace. Be with each one. We move to our time of celebrations and prayer concerns. And in just a moment, Marlon Yoder will share those prayer concerns and celebrations that you have typed into the chat function. We encourage you to do that now if you've got something to lift up for us. We celebrate that in this past week, there's been a pause to the construction of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, that there's been a pause of the production at the Dakota Access Pipeline, that at least for now, there's been a stay of an execution in the state of Indiana, that there continue to be gestures, at least, of changes in municipal budgets around the country, redefining the meaning of public safety. We celebrate with Craig P. Celebrating a birthday this weekend. Happy birthday, Craig. We are in deep prayer for Nathan V. and for Lee V. as Nathan continues to be in a coma at the High Point Hospital. We pray with Bev G. as she is recovering from knee surgery this week. Susan D., who is back in the hospital at Nivant for observation. With Sandy A., who received a diagnosis of cancer and begins chemotherapy. It is now time that Marlon will share anything that you have typed into that chat function.
Anna gives thanks for the renewed health of her incarcerated son, that he might continue to seek purpose for his life. Beth says she is glad I finally successfully faxed my complaint to the DES department. Thank you.
God's steady love endures forever. As we begin to move towards a time of stillness and silence, which we will conclude with the prayer Jesus taught in the language and tradition of your choice. We make space now for Sarah Bryant and perhaps others of the Bryant family to offer musical reflection. Together we pray, Our Mother, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sin as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Pause for a few moments for a youth witness to voter action by Elise Shao on recording. you have to make sure you click audio below before you share. We can do that again. I know it's a funky glitch in Zoom. See the two boxes when we go to share? Let's move on and then we'll come back to it. So we're going to come back to the youth witness to action later in the service. Our scripture today is Isaiah 55, verses 10 through 13. Here, prophet, for as the rain and do not return there until they have watered the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes forth out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty. It shall accomplish that which I purpose, and succeed in the thing for which I sent it. For you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all of the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress. Instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle, and it shall be to Adonai for a memorial, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. Friends in worship, let's be clear, democracy is not the same as the Commonwealth of God. God's realm always lifts up the minority voice, no matter what the election results. God's realm is founded on divine love, which never lets us go, no matter what our government. God's realm includes the rights of water and sky and tree and bird, sort of foreign ideas to our Constitution. Yet our commitment to the Commonwealth of God tugs us through today's realities into the prospect of an actual democracy in this country, which we have never known. So our spiritual journey right now is interior work as well as exterior, outward, collective work. The interior work is to be centered in holy presence enough to do the outward work with humility and joy and some degree of patience. The interior work is to excavate how we are actually complicit in the inequity. The interior work is also to practice radical self-care enough to be able to carry on a conversation, a true conversation with somebody from a different perspective. Because repair of our civic fabric requires us to stay in relationships with one another even when we disagree. And success sometimes means finding respect and finding points of agreement rather than always changing somebody's mind. Because God always offers that to us. But there is definitely outward work to be done, collective action to engage. One of the dimensions of that outward work these next 3.5 months is to increase the participation in our democracy of those who have been left out, pushed out, sidelined, and discouraged. It's not just to elect candidates that we want. It is an act of discipleship, using the system that we have to draw us toward the vision of beloved community. If we feel we are experiencing conditions of exile, well then let's go to a sacred text for those in exile, namely the prophet Isaiah. In Isaiah, the people of Judah are still in Babylon, and the prophet raises up a shocking word of hope. The prophet invites them to consider it might be possible to eat without paying, regardless of whatever family or caste somebody comes from. Listen, the prophet says. See, the prophet says. Seek your God, the prophet says. Well, that doesn't mean that they don't have to cross a wilderness to return home. That doesn't mean that they won't experience a mounting incredible resistance. It doesn't mean that they won't weep at the crumbled infrastructure of their community. It doesn't mean that some days they wish they would have just kept their heads down and stayed in exile. But first, regardless, they must imagine something new in vivid color and textured detail, something else that is actually possible. Yes, we've done battle for countless years on unfair voting districts and the poll tax of a voter idea. Yes, 20,000 voters in our county alone have been thrown off the rolls since the last major election. 7,000 of those voters of color. Yes, we're in the midst of a crushing pandemic impacting Latinx and African American indigenous neighbors at dizzyingly disproportionate rates. Yes, the news every day of tables tilted into the pockets of those who have more than enough make our heads pound and want us to close the shades and crawl into bed. And the prophet rolls out a new image, an automatic external defibrillator of a metaphor to get our attention. You remember the third grade science class, the prophet says, the chart about the water cycle? The rain falls, it waters the plants, it nourishes the animals, it washes over the people, it trickles into the ground, it runs the streams and rivers to lakes and oceans, it rises from puddles and pools into the sky to make clouds pregnant and purple, and then it falls again. Every single drop from the beginning of creation, cycling over and over again. Nothing stops the water, the beautiful sacred water, the water that births us and makes us and claims us. Well, that's what the word of sacred energy is like the cycle of the water. The word washes through us and between us and in our relationships and our connection to the more than human community, and will not return to the ground of being empty. It will accomplish what it is set forth to accomplish. The gravity of it will not be deterred. From the very first inhale, before the first syllable of lifing, it or they, the incarnate beingness, cycles through all things, shaping and transforming, yes, judging, but also loving, binding, and healing. The mountains know it. They're already chanting. The trees know it. They are already raising an uncomfortable, irreverent, glorious ruckus. The cypress and the myrtle will have the wind of the word plant their unlikeliness into the desert, the prophet says. Outlandish. Impossible, the Appropriations Committee says. The prophet says, no, these are not just words. This is real. Don't mess with the utterances of the ground of mystery. You see, in our culture, we have adapted ourselves to such a mangled understanding of the word. A president waving a Bible in front of a church as a publicity stunt while doing harm to those expressing their civic right and responsibility. That's just the tip of the iceberg. All of us as the institutional church have weaponized the word, inserting handy texts and resolutions and cloaking ourselves in a sense of rightness while ignoring the different readings from the margins of society. We cannot hold the word because the word holds us. If we're honest, we don't just merely read the word reads us and our lives and our decisions. The word pulls us into a stream of connection we'd rather sometimes stay away from. The word, the good news, is harrowing news for comfort and status quo. Sometimes this fleshy force of truth cools our brow and dresses our wounds, and sometimes the word scorches our smugness and torches our untruths. No power is immune. The word does its work, does their work, when we're actually claimed and changed and reimagined by that stubborn oxygen molecule clinging to the double hydrogen, bouncing around and inside and between us with an insistence for life. And that force is what gives us hope. Word keeps doing what it will to foster the conditions of the commonwealth of God's equity and love, no matter how bad things are in exile. So we are read into humility. We are read into persistence and read into a greater capacity to listen, read into deeper practices of staying with the process of collective action. I ask you, what is your particular work as vote protectors, vote engagers, vote encouragers? We need people to help make sure people know how to fill out the absentee ballot request forms. We need people before this coming Thursday night to contact our Board of Election and say, we need all 17 days of one-stop early voting that the state has already made provision for, including Saturdays and Sundays, and enough voting sites in the neighborhoods with higher concentrations of Black and brown voters. We need an authentic mega site on the east side of Winston-Salem. We need people to register new voters, to listen, yes, to their doubts and their suspicion that it's going to matter, to listen to their helplessness, and then to encourage. We need people to call, to write postcards. Most of it doesn't require you leaving your home. I ask you today, will you commit to being read, to being changed as children of God in this process, to see with new eyes and experience new dimensions of our community as we engage in voter commitment? We commit to those things on the voter commitment card that was sent out with the announcements this week. That which calls to you, that which is within your capacity, as well as a little bit of a stretch, for the sake of striving toward the vision of shalom. So we pause and we ask for prayer, for strength, for courage, for patience, for community together as we do this work. Holy One, we need your wording power, and we need each other to fulfill our purpose. Amen. We are so grateful for your support, for your presence, your prayers, your participation in so many ways, as well as your offerings. We invite your offerings to the ongoing ministries of this congregation, Parkway United Church of Christ, as it connects with many partners. We invite you to go to our website and click on where you can make an offering digitally or send a check to the church office. The closing song is offered by Tim Binkley. Feel free to sing along. He's going to share with us, "This Is My Song."
I didn't hear that, did you? Were you looking at? Okay.
Your invitation.
I'm not doing that.
Ritual commitment, reflecting.
Tim, we are ready for your presentation.
Okay. This is my song, oh God, God of all the nations, a song of land and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as high and true as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, oh God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
The future is in our hands, physically with the mark of a ballot and mentally. How can we trust this world leader with this current government? North Carolina is a swing state, meaning we are one of the states responsible and contributing most to this upcoming election. I asked my youth group what they thought I should say today, and Andrea put my idea into words. Voting is a great way to put your thoughts and values into action. Make sure your voice is heard. My civics teacher used to always tell me, vote or they win. We have a voice in a ballot, we might as well use it. Voting is a right many countries will never come close to. I'm tired of hearing, it's not like my vote's going to do anything. If millions of people have that mindset, you're exactly right. I wish I had this right, but people that do not take advantage of it. Honestly, not voting is a waste of a right. That's hypothetically saying, I do not care who represents us. I do not want this country to change for the better. Yes, the Electoral College is a problem, but putting all of our voices together sends a message, and remember, local and states elections are just as important. Vote on my behalf. Vote for the youth. Vote for anyone under 18 that cannot vote. Vote for the homeless. Vote for refugees. Vote for racial equity. Vote for immigrants trying to live the American dream but still have zero rights. Lastly, vote for this country. You are the voice leading us to a better change.
As we bring our service and worship to a close, just a couple of things to call your attention to. If you've not picked up one of these beautiful bumper stickers, love your neighbor, wear a mask, they're still available for $1 donation each. Bill Donahue, Pat Eisenach, all have them if you'd like to reach out to them. And there are about 30 of these in the church narthex that you could come and pick up. There's a place to insert your money as a donation. Vicki Schwartz wanted you to be sure to be aware that the next drop-off time to offer snacks for the City with Dwellings program is this coming Friday from 10 to 11:30. All of the snacks that they're looking for are in the announcements, and you can check them out there. Just a final reminder that throughout the month of July, we will be receiving at Parkway a special offering. This special offering will support those partner organizations, Black-led, Black-sponsored, that are working on the ground in Forsyth County for racial equity. I want to just have a special shout out today to Matt Bowie-Nervik, who has been behind the camera here in the Parkway Sanctuary. We just got a Mevo live streaming camera. We're working out the wrinkles, but we're grateful to Matt for setting it up and being behind the camera today. Just a reminder, in a few moments, we hope we can see you, your wonderful face, and hear your voice in the virtual coffee hour that we hold each Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Holy love abide with you, give you courage and strength, give you a sense of patience and possibility, that indeed the word that comes forth from the breath of sacred mystery comes around and is always in the process of accomplishing that which it is set forth. Go in a just peace.